People that don't like pets are sad people. Okay. Alright, I know that's kind of a hasty generalization, but I mean, when someone comes up to me and tells me that they're not an animal person, I just stare at them with a blank face. I want to ask them, so you don't like when a dog spazzes out when he sees you after a 12 long hour work day? Or when a cat jumps up on your lap and falls asleep? Do you even like happiness or joy? Alright, I know that was dramatic, but it helps to entertain, so just go with it. I do, though, want to talk about my perspective and to persuade all of you why children should own pets during childhood. Some of you may be thinking, who is this lady? Is she one of those people that calls her pets her children or dresses them up for different holidays or when it's cold outside? No. Definitely not me. It's way too extreme. But I have had my fair share of interactions and experiences with animals. Growing up and having anything from hermit crabs to tortoises, dogs, cats, horses, bunnies, you name it. And I've definitely seen the fruits from having those animals in my life and how they've impacted myself, my families, and friends. So, to those of you who are on the fence of listening about this topic, if you're not an animal person or you swear to never be in the future, just hear me out for a second. You will come in contact with people who absolutely adore animals, whether that's because of their cuteness or because they need them to survive and thrive in their lives, whether emotional support or animal. And you will also come into contact with children who light up when they see a puppy on the sidewalk or when a cat has kittens. So I can help you to see the light. There are many different benefits of owning pets during childhood, but today I'm going to be focusing on two distinct ones. The first one is that it helps children mature emotionally and to have a connection of consistency, companionship, and love. Secondly, it also helps to teach responsibility and what that entails by caring for a living creature. I'm sure many of us have had experiences in our lives where we'd be upset about something, whether with our parents or siblings or classmates, and we feel the only person that could completely understand what we were feeling was our dog or a cat or even hamster. I recall being about 9 years old and running out to see my dogs in my backyard, Bubba and Bailey, and confiding in them about what I was upset about. I felt that they were the only ones that could understand my 9-year-old heart and mind and what I was exactly feeling in that moment. I can remember hugging them and feeling their fur under my small little spaghetti arms and hearing the thump of their tail in the cement. Dr. Melson, a professor at Purdue University, conducted a study where she asked, quote, a group of 5-year-old pet owners what they did when they felt sad, angry, afraid, or when they had a secret to share. More than 40% spontaneously mentioned turning to their pets, end quote. First of all, how precious is that? And does not make your heart just want to melt? And secondly, by their answer, you can see the relationship that they had with their pets, how they relied on them for that connection. In some, maybe that was the only connection of love that they had in their life at that time. Harvard's health publishing site backs up the realness of these tender relationships by stating, quote, we do best medically and emotionally when we feel securely attached to another, because we're mammals and that's how we've evolved, end quote. By having a living being be present in the good times and bad, it helps kids to feel less alone. Children are able to have a source to constantly rely on where they can seek love from. Furthermore, not only do pets help kids grow and learn about love and consistency, but they can also be a source where compassion is learned. In an article titled 7 Benefits Kids Get from Owning a Pet, discusses how the people children interact with molds them into a specific kind of person. By having children care for and understand that this animal has needs to survive, it will help them to grow their compassion bucket for their peers and their family. Now that was just a list of what kids can gain emotionally by owning a pet during childhood. So just wait for all you parents. Wait, is anyone a parent in here? Well, you future parents will like this next point. How many of us have experienced or witnessed either personally or a loved one going through this, where they would beg their mom or dad or grandparents or whoever for a pet? Raise of hands. And how many of you have heard your parents say, we'll only get one if you're completely responsible for it. I won't be taking care of anything, and you are responsible financially, yada, yada, yada. Definitely me. Well, children have the wonderful opportunity to learn what responsibility means when they own an animal. In an article titled The Power of Pets from News and Health, it expresses responsibility of owning a pet put very simply. Quote, knowing how to care for and feed an animal is part of owning a pet. End quote. Mic drop, straight to the point. In the same Babbel article referenced above, it goes on to discuss the role of responsibility. It states, quote, having responsibility and chores with something that matters, like the comfort and life of a pet, can go a long way in teaching your child about doing hard work and pulling their weight. End quote. Children are able to pair that a living thing, though fun to interact with, has needs. Whether they have to walk the dog or clean the bunny cage or clean the litter box, whatever is age appropriate for them, they see their hard work paying off. This will increase their self-confidence and self-efficacy in how they can accomplish these tasks. When my oldest nephew, he's now 6.5 years old, was 2 years old, he absolutely loved helping his grandpa, my dad, scoop the poop in the horse corral. He was all about it. It was the cutest thing to see this chunky little toddler running around with the rake and trying to toss it into the wheelbarrow. Now, about 4.5 years later, my sister and brother-in-law have decided to buy chickens for their 3 young kids. This is a fun experience to own pets at such a young age, but also will help them to learn responsibility. One might say, well, the kids would be excited anyways because it's something new and it's a living creature to interact with. But I believe because my nephew had previous experience with caring for an animal, even on a very small scale, he recognizes what responsibility is. And he's excited to see his actions put into work and see how that affects the animals, the chickens, positively. Responsibility can only come to a person if they have experiences learning and failing and succeeding through it. So why don't we let those little ones fail and succeed? Because that's the only way they're going to learn this great lesson. In conclusion, we have all seen the heart-wrenching photos of pets consoling babies, toddlers, children, all the way up to elderly people. It brings awes out of our mouths and more fuzzies to our hearts. So next time a little one begs for a pet, you may never know what a little fluff ball or big fluff ball can have an impact on their lives. Thank you.